The Wyoming wind howled across the plains as Jamie Sullivan stood on the porch of the Silver Star Ranch house, watching the sun sink below the horizon. At 23, he'd never expected his life to turn out like this. Married to a man he barely knew, living on a ranch 1,000 miles from everything familiar, his virginity still intact 3 weeks after his wedding day. His husband, Cole Branson, was somewhere out checking the cattle. Always checking the cattle, fixing fences, working with the horses, anything to avoid being alone with Jamie for too long. They were polite to each other, cordial even, but there was a wall between them that neither seemed to know how to breach. Jamie pulled his jacket tighter against the cold. He'd grown up in Seattle, son of a software engineer and a graphic designer. His life centered around coffee shops and bookstores and the constant gray drizzle of the Pacific Northwest. He'd never even seen a cow up close until he'd arrived at the Silver Star 3 weeks ago as Cole Branson's legal husband. The marriage had been his father's dying wish, literally. Thomas Sullivan had grown up on the ranch next to the Branson property, childhood best friends with Cole's father, Michael. The two men had made a pact decades ago, half joking, that their children would marry and unite their families. Nobody had taken it seriously until Thomas received his terminal cancer diagnosis. "Promise me," his father had said, his hand gripping Jamie's with surprising strength for someone so ill. "Promise me you'll honor the arrangement with the Bransons. I know it sounds archaic, I know it's not what you planned, but Michael's son needs help, Jamie. The ranch is struggling and Cole needs a partner. You're smart, you're capable, and maybe you'll find something real there." What his father hadn't said, but what Jamie had understood from the careful way he'd phrased it, was that Michael Branson had told Thomas his son was gay. And Thomas, who'd known about Jamie's sexuality since he was 16, had seen an opportunity to honor an old friendship while giving his son a chance at a life away from the painful memories of Seattle. So Jamie had said yes, had packed up his life, driven across 3 states, and married Cole Branson in a small ceremony at the county courthouse with just their fathers as witnesses. Michael Branson had died 2 weeks later, his heart finally giving out after years of strain. Thomas had followed a week after that, leaving Jamie and Cole alone on the Silver Star Ranch, married strangers trying to figure out how to live together. The sound of a truck engine pulled Jamie from his thoughts. Cole's battered Ford came up the drive, parking near the barn. Jamie watched as his husband climbed out, all 6'3" of him, broad-shouldered and lean-hipped, moving with the easy grace of someone who'd spent his entire 30 years working the land. Cole Branson was beautiful in a rough, masculine way. Dark hair that curled slightly at the ends, perpetually in need of a cut. Sharp blue eyes that rarely met Jamie's for long. A strong jaw usually shadowed with stubble. Calloused hands that knew hard work. Jamie had been attracted to him from the first moment they'd met, had felt his stomach flip when Cole had said, "I do," in his deep, gravelly voice. But Cole had barely touched him since the wedding. A brief kiss at the ceremony, chaste and careful. That was it. They slept in separate bedrooms, ate meals in near silence, existed in the same space without really connecting. Jamie knew why, at least partially. Cole was grieving his father. The ranch was in financial trouble. Jamie had seen enough of the books to understand that. And Cole had been essentially forced into a marriage he'd never wanted, saddled with a city boy who knew nothing about ranch life and couldn't contribute much beyond cooking meals and trying to learn the basics. But tonight something had to change. Jamie had made a decision. Cole came up the porch steps, pulling off his work gloves. "Getting cold out here. You should come inside." "I was waiting for you." Jamie's heart hammered in his chest. "I made dinner, pot roast." "You didn't have to do that," but Cole looked pleased. "I'll wash up." They ate dinner at the kitchen table, the same careful dance they'd done every night. Cole complimented the food. Jamie asked about the ranch work. They discussed the weather forecast, the price of feed, whether they needed to call the vet for one of the horses. Surface-level conversation that kept them from addressing anything real. Finally, Jamie couldn't take it anymore. "Cole, we need to talk." His husband looked up, something wary in his blue eyes. About what? About us, about this marriage. Jamie took a breath. We've been married 3 weeks and we're living like roommates, barely even that. Cole set down his fork carefully. What did you expect, Jamie? This wasn't exactly a love match. Our fathers pushed us into this. I know that, but we're still married, and I'm trying to make this work, but I can't do it alone. Jamie's voice cracked slightly. You won't talk to me, won't touch me, won't let me in. I feel like I'm living with a ghost. I'm doing the best I can. Cole's jaw clenched. I just lost my father. I'm trying to keep this ranch afloat. I don't have the energy for. For what? For a relationship with your husband. Jamie felt tears prick his eyes. I lost my father too, Cole. I'm grieving too, but at least I'm trying. Cole stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. What do you want from me, Jamie? You want me to pretend this is some kind of fairy tale, that we fell in love and got married and everything's perfect? No, I want you to acknowledge that I exist, that I'm here, that I'm your husband, that maybe we could try to build something real instead of just tolerating each other. They stared at each other across the kitchen table, the air thick with tension and unspoken things. Cole's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths, his hands clenched at his sides. Jamie felt exposed, vulnerable, but also relieved to have finally said something. You think I don't want that? Cole's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. You think I don't lie awake at night, knowing you're in the next room, wanting? He stopped himself, shaking his head. You don't understand. Then help me understand. Jamie moved around the table, stepping closer to Cole. His husband didn't back away, but his body was tense, coiled. Talk to me, please. Cole's eyes finally met his, and what Jamie saw there made his breath catch, desire, fear, longing, all tangled together. I don't know how to do this, Cole admitted. I've been with men before, but never someone like you. Never someone I was married to, never someone so. So what? Innocent? The word came out rough. Jamie, you're 23 years old, you grew up in the city. You probably had plans for your life that didn't include being stuck on a failing ranch with a cowboy you didn't choose. And I know, he took a shaky breath. I know you're a virgin. You told me that before the wedding. Jamie had told him in one of their awkward pre-marriage conversations. He'd been nervous, embarrassed, but honest about his lack of experience. He'd had opportunities in Seattle but had never felt ready, had always thought he'd wait for someone special. So, Jamie said softly, that doesn't mean I don't want this, want you. Cole's eyes darkened. You don't know what you're saying. Yes, I do. Jamie was close enough now to feel the heat radiating from Cole's body. I'm saying I'm tired of waiting. I'm saying I'm your husband and I want to be your husband in every sense. I'm saying, he took a leap. I'm saying that tonight, I want you to take me to bed and show me what it means to be married to you. Cole sucked in a sharp breath. His hands came up, hovering near Jamie's shoulders but not quite touching. Jamie, we can't just. Why not? Jamie's voice was steady despite his racing heart. Give me one good reason why we shouldn't. Because once we do this, everything changes. Because I don't know if I can be gentle enough for your first time. Because, Cole's voice cracked. Because I'm already half in love with you, and if we do this, if I have you like that, I don't think I'll be able to keep my heart out of it anymore. The confession hung in the air between them. Jamie felt like all the oxygen had been sucked from the room. Cole loved him, or was starting to. Despite everything, despite the arranged marriage and the grief and the struggle, Cole felt something real. Good, Jamie whispered. Because I don't want you to keep your heart out of it. I want all of you, Cole, everything you've been holding back. Cole's control visibly snapped. His hands finally landed on Jamie's shoulders, pulling him close, and then his mouth was on Jamie's in a kiss that was nothing like the chaste peck at their wedding. This kiss was hungry, desperate, full of 3 weeks of pent-up desire and frustration. Jamie gasped against Cole's mouth, his hands clutching at his husband's shirt. Cole kissed like he was drowning and Jamie was air, deep, consuming, overwhelming. His tongue swept into Jamie's mouth, and Jamie made a sound he'd never made before, something between a moan and a whimper. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Cole rested his forehead against Jamie's. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice hoarse. "Because if we start this, I'm not going to be able to stop. Tonight you're going to take all of me, everything I've been holding back. And your first time is going to be with me, in our bed, claiming you as mine. Are you sure that's what you want?" Jamie looked up into those intense blue eyes and knew his answer. "Yes, I've never been more sure of anything." Cole swept him up, literally lifting Jamie into his arms like he weighed nothing, and carried him toward the stairs. Jamie wrapped his arms around Cole's neck, his heart pounding with anticipation and nervousness and excitement all mixed together. This was it. Tonight, everything was going to change. Cole's bedroom, their bedroom technically, though Jamie had never slept in it, was at the end of the upstairs hallway. It was simply furnished. A large bed with a heavy wooden frame, a dresser, a nightstand, a chair by the window. The room smelled like coal, leather, and sage, and something indefinably masculine. Cole set Jamie down gently beside the bed, his hand steadying him. In the dim light from the bedside lamp, Jamie could see the desire in his husband's eyes, but also the care, the concern. "If you want to stop at any point," Cole said, his voice low, "you tell me. I don't care how far we've gone, you say stop and we stop. Understood?" Jamie nodded, his throat tight. "Understood." "Use your words, Jamie. I need to hear you say it." "Yes, I understand. If I want to stop, I'll tell you." "Good." Cole's hand came up, cupping Jamie's face with surprising gentleness. "I'm going to take care of you, I promise, but I also need you to know I've wanted you since the day we met, seeing you standing there at the courthouse, so nervous and beautiful, saying vows to me. I've been holding back for weeks, trying to be respectful, trying to give you space, but now that I have permission—" His thumb brushed over Jamie's bottom lip. "Now that I know you want this too, I'm going to make you mine in every way possible." A shiver ran through Jamie's body. "I want that." "You're a virgin," Cole continued, his hand sliding down to Jamie's neck. "That means I need to prepare you properly, take my time, make sure you're ready. It might take a while and I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" "Yes." Cole smiled, slow and devastating. Then he kissed Jamie again, softer this time but no less intense. His hands moved to the buttons of Jamie's shirt, unfastening them one by one with deliberate patience. When the shirt fell open, revealing Jamie's pale chest, Cole made a low sound of appreciation. "Beautiful," he murmured, his calloused fingertips tracing over Jamie's collarbone down his sternum. "You're so damn beautiful, Jamie." Jamie had never thought of himself as particularly attractive. He was too thin, too pale, too soft compared to the rugged men of Wyoming. But the way Cole looked at him, touched him, made him feel beautiful, desired, wanted. Cole's mouth followed where his fingers had been, pressing kisses to Jamie's throat, his collarbones, down the center of his chest. Jamie's head fell back, a soft moan escaping his lips. His own hands found their way to Cole's shirt, tugging at it impatiently. "Want this off," Jamie managed. Cole straightened and pulled his shirt over his head in one smooth motion, tossing it aside. Jamie's mouth went dry. He'd seen Cole shirtless before. It was hard to avoid on a ranch where men worked in the heat. But he'd never been allowed to look, to really study the planes of muscle, the scattering of dark hair across his chest, the faded scars from years of ranch work. "You can touch," Cole said, reading his expression. "I want you to touch me." Jamie's hands were shaking slightly as he reached out, pressing his palms flat against Cole's chest. His husband was warm, solid, his heartbeat strong beneath Jamie's touch. Jamie explored carefully, tracing the definition of Cole's abs, the dip of his hip bones where they disappeared into his jeans. Cole's breathing had gone rough. "Jamie," he said, his voice strained, "you're killing me." "Good," Jamie said, surprised by his own boldness. "You've been killing me for 3 weeks." Cole growled, actually growled, and then they were moving again. Cole efficiently stripped Jamie of the rest of his clothes, laying him back on the bed. Jamie felt exposed, vulnerable. But the way Cole looked at him, like he was precious, like he was everything, chased away most of his nervousness. "Gonna take care of you," Cole promised, kneeling on the bed beside Jamie. "Gonna make you feel so good, baby, but you need to communicate with me. Tell me what feels good, what doesn't. Tell me if anything hurts. Can you do that?" "Yes," Jamie breathed. What followed was an education in pleasure Jamie had never imagined. Cole touched him everywhere, kissed him everywhere, learning his body with thorough attention. He found every sensitive spot: the hollow of Jamie's throat, the inside of his wrists, the soft skin behind his knees. He took his time, building pleasure slowly, patiently, until Jamie was writhing on the bed, desperate and pleading. "Cole, please." "Not yet," Cole murmured against his skin. "You're not ready yet." He was right, of course. When Cole finally began preparing him, carefully, gently, with generous amounts of lubricant and infinite patience, Jamie understood why it had taken so long. Even one finger felt strange, invasive, but Cole talked him through it, his voice low and soothing. "Breathe, baby, just breathe. I've got you. You're doing so good." Gradually, strangeness gave way to pleasure. By the time Cole had worked up to 3 fingers, Jamie was pushing back against his hand, chasing the sensation, his entire body alive with need. "Please," Jamie gasped. "Please, Cole, I'm ready. I need you." Cole withdrew his fingers, and Jamie heard the sound of a condom wrapper tearing. Then Cole was positioning himself, one hand on Jamie's hip, the other guiding himself into place. "Look at me," Cole commanded, and Jamie's eyes flew open. "I want to see your face, want to watch you take me." The first press of Cole inside him was intense. Jamie's breath caught, his hands clutching at Cole's shoulders. It burned, stretched, felt like too much. "Breathe," Cole reminded him, holding still. "Breathe through it, your body will adjust." Jamie focused on breathing, on relaxing, on trusting Cole. Gradually, the burning sensation eased. Cole pressed deeper, inch by careful inch, until finally, he was fully seated inside Jamie. "Oh God," Jamie whispered, overwhelmed by the fullness, the intimacy, the incredible feeling of being joined with his husband like this. "You okay?" Cole's arms were shaking with the effort of holding still. "Yes, you can move, please move." Cole started slowly, shallow thrusts that let Jamie's body adjust. But as Jamie began to respond, began to meet his movements, Cole's control started to slip. His thrusts grew deeper, harder, more demanding. "You're taking me so well," Cole groaned. "Taking all of me just like I promised. You're perfect, Jamie, so perfect." The pleasure built and built until Jamie thought he might shatter from it. When Cole reached between them, wrapping his hand around Jamie's neglected length, it was too much. Jamie came with a cry, his body clenching around Cole, sending his husband over the edge moments later. They collapsed together, breathing hard, sweat-slicked and trembling. Cole carefully withdrew and disposed of the condom before gathering Jamie into his arms, holding him close. "You okay?" Cole asked, pressing kisses to Jamie's temple, his cheek. "How do you feel?" "Amazing," Jamie managed, his voice hoarse. I never knew it could be like that." "It's like that with the right person." Cole pulled back enough to look at him. "And you're the right person for me, Jamie. I should have told you sooner, should have been honest about my feelings instead of hiding behind grief and work. I'm sorry I made you feel unwanted." "You're telling me now," Jamie said, snuggling closer. "That's what matters." They lay together in the darkness, Jamie's head on Cole's chest, listening to his husband's heartbeat slow and steady. Outside, the Wyoming wind continued to howl, but inside, wrapped in Cole's arms, Jamie felt safe, claimed, loved. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" "For tonight, for showing me what it means to be yours." Cole's arms tightened around him. "You're mine now, Jamie, and I'm yours. We're going to make this marriage real, make this ranch work, build a life together. I promise you that." Jamie believed him. For the first time since arriving at the Silver Star Ranch, he felt like he was truly home. Jamie woke the next morning to sunlight streaming through the curtains and the warm weight of Cole's arm across his waist. His body ached in unfamiliar places, not unpleasant, just a constant reminder of the night before. He shifted slightly and winced. "Sore?" Cole's voice was rough with sleep. "A little." Jamie turned to face him, taking in his husband's tousled hair and soft morning expression. "But it was worth it." Cole smiled and pulled him closer, pressing a kiss to his forehead. "We should probably get up. Ranch work doesn't stop just because I spent half the night making love to my husband." My husband. The word sent a warm flutter through Jamie's chest. "Can we stay like this for 5 more minutes?" "Yeah, we can do that." They lay there in comfortable silence, Jamie's head tucked under Cole's chin, their legs tangled together. It felt natural, right, like they'd been doing this for years instead of just one night. Finally, reluctantly, they got up. Cole insisted on drawing Jamie a hot bath, helping him into the tub with gentle hands. "This'll help with the soreness," he explained, settling on the edge of the tub. "And tonight, if you're up for it, I can give you a proper massage." "Tonight?" Jamie looked up at him, surprised. "You mean?" "I mean I plan on making love to my husband as often as he'll let me." Cole's hand trailed through the bath water, his fingers finding Jamie's. "Unless you need more time. I don't want to push." "I don't need more time," Jamie interrupted. "I want you, as often as you'll have me." Cole's eyes darkened. "Careful what you wish for, baby. I've got years of wanting built up." After the bath, they dressed and headed downstairs. The morning routine felt different now. Cole's hand on the small of Jamie's back as he reached for the coffee mugs, the easy way they moved around each other in the kitchen, the stolen kisses between tasks. "I need to ride out to the north pasture today," Cole said over breakfast. "Check on the cattle, make sure the fences survived that storm we had 2 days ago. Want to come with me?" "Really?" Jamie had been asking to help with ranch work since he'd arrived, but Cole had always found reasons to leave him behind. "Really? Time you learned what this place is all about." Cole's expression was warm. "Besides, I'm done trying to keep my distance from you. If you're out there with me, I can kiss you whenever I want and nobody's around to judge." They saddled up 2 horses, Cole on his big bay gelding, Duke, and Jamie on a gentler mare named Rosie. Jamie had some basic riding skills from a summer camp he'd attended as a kid, but nothing like the easy, natural seat Cole had. The ride out to the north pasture took about 40 minutes, following trails that wound through rolling grassland. The morning was crisp and clear, the sky an endless blue bowl overhead. Jamie had to admit there was something beautiful about this landscape, harsh and unforgiving, yes, but also magnificent in its vastness. "Your father built this ranch from nothing," Cole said as they rode. "Started with 50 acres and a dream. By the time he died, we had 1,500 acres and a decent-sized herd. But the last few years have been hard. Drought, market prices tanking, equipment breaking down. We're barely breaking even." "How bad is it?" Cole was quiet for a moment. "Bad enough that without some changes, we might lose the place within a year." Jamie's chest tightened. He'd known things were difficult, but he hadn't realized they were quite that dire. "What kind of changes?" "We need to diversify. Can't just rely on cattle anymore. I've been thinking about starting a horse breeding operation. Quarter horses are in demand for ranch work. Maybe getting into guest ranching, taking on people who want the authentic cowboy experience. But all of that requires capital we don't have." They reached the north pasture and spent the next several hours checking the fence line, counting cattle, making notes about repairs that needed to be done. Cole was patient as he explained things to Jamie, showed him how to spot problems, taught him the basics of cattle behavior. "You're a natural," Cole said as they stopped for lunch, sandwiches Cole had packed that morning, eaten sitting on a boulder overlooking the grazing herd. "You learn quick." "I want to help," Jamie said. "I know I don't have ranch experience, but I'm smart, I'm willing to work, and this is my home now too. Let me be a real partner in this, Cole. Not just your husband, but your partner in running this place." Cole looked at him for a long moment, something soft in his expression. "Okay," Yeah, I'd like that. He reached over and took Jamie's hand. Thank you for caring about this place, about me, about making this work. It's what I signed up for. Maybe not exactly the way I imagined, but Jamie squeezed his hand. I'm glad I did. Glad I'm here with you. They kissed there on the boulder, the Wyoming sun warm on their backs, cattle grazing peacefully below them. When they pulled apart, Cole's smile was the most genuine Jamie had seen from him. Come on, Cole said. Let's head back. I want to show you the books tonight, go over the finances together. If we're doing this as partners, you need to know everything. That evening, after dinner and chores, they sat together at the desk in Cole's office. Cole pulled out ledgers, bank statements, bills, laying bare the financial reality of the Silver Star Ranch. It was worse than Jamie had thought. They were 3 months behind on the mortgage, equipment loans were piling up, and the last cattle sale had barely covered operating expenses. Jesus, Jamie breathed, looking at the numbers. Cole, why didn't you tell me how bad this was? Pride, I guess. Didn't want to admit I was failing at the one thing I was supposed to be good at. Cole ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. My father built this place up, and I'm watching it crumble. Jamie's mind was already working, processing the information, looking for angles. He might not know ranching, but he'd grown up around business discussions, had taken accounting classes in college before he dropped out to care for his father. Okay, he said slowly. Let's think about this logically. You mentioned diversifying, the horse breeding operation. How much would that cost to start up? Too much. We'd need at least 4 quality mares, a decent stud, facilities, feed. We're talking $50,000 minimum to do it right. And the guest ranching idea. Same problem. We'd need to renovate the old bunkhouse, upgrade facilities, market ourselves. Another 30 or 40,000. Jamie tapped his pen against the ledger, thinking. What about grants? There are agricultural grants, rural development programs. And your father mentioned before he died that there's some inheritance coming to me from my mother's estate. It's not a fortune, maybe 30,000, but... No, Cole said immediately. That's your money, Jamie. I'm not taking it. It's our money, Jamie corrected. We're married, remember. What's mine is yours. And if that money can help save this ranch, keep our home, then that's what it should be used for. Cole looked torn. Jamie. We're partners, right? That's what you said. Partners share everything, the good and the bad, the victories and the struggles. So let me be your partner in this. Let me help save what your father built. They talked for hours, going over possibilities, making plans, arguing over details. By the time they finally went to bed, together, in Cole's room, which was starting to feel like their room, they had the rough outline of a strategy. Thank you, Cole murmured as they settled under the covers, Jamie tucked against his side. For giving a damn, for being willing to fight for this place. It's my place too now, Jamie said. And you're my husband, I'll fight for both. Cole made love to him again that night, slower and more tender than the first time, taking his time exploring Jamie's body, learning what made him gasp and moan. Afterward, as they lay tangled together, sweaty and satisfied, Cole pressed a kiss to Jamie's temple. I love you, he said quietly. I know it's fast, I know we haven't known each other long, but I need you to know. I love you, Jamie Sullivan Branson. Jamie's eyes filled with tears. I love you too. I think I started falling for you the day we met, even though I was terrified and overwhelmed. I love you, Cole. They fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, and for the first time since arriving at the Silver Star Ranch, Jamie dreamed of the future instead of the past. The next few months were a whirlwind of activity. Jamie's inheritance came through, $32,000 that he immediately signed over to the ranch account. Cole swallowed his pride and applied for every grant and rural development program they could find. Jamie dove into learning everything he could about ranch management, spending his days working alongside Cole and their ranch hand, an older man named Pete who'd been with the Branson family for 20 years. Boys got grit, Pete said to Cole one afternoon when Jamie was out of earshot. Didn't think that city kid would make it, but he's proved me wrong. He's good for you, boss. Good for this place." Cole had just smiled, pride evident in his expression. They started small with the diversification plan, using part of Jamie's inheritance to purchase 2 quality quarter-horse mares and arranging a breeding arrangement with a top stud from a neighboring ranch. Cole taught Jamie everything about horse breeding, care, and training. Jamie took to it naturally, his gentle patience perfect for working with the animals. The guest ranching idea required more capital than they had immediately available, so they shelved it temporarily while focusing on getting the breeding operation established. But Jamie spent his evenings researching, making plans, creating a business proposal they could present to banks once they had more financial stability. Their personal life continued to deepen and grow. Cole was an attentive, passionate lover who seemed determined to make up for their first 3 weeks of distance. Some mornings, Jamie woke up to Cole already kissing his way down his body. Some evenings, they barely made it through dinner before they were tearing each other's clothes off. But it wasn't just physical. They talked for hours about their childhoods, their dreams, their fears. Cole told Jamie about growing up feeling different, knowing he was gay in a community that didn't always understand or accept it. How he'd had brief, hidden relationships with other men over the years, but had never thought he'd be able to have something real, something lasting. Jamie told Cole about his mother's death when he was 12, how it had shaped his relationship with his father, about dropping out of college to care for Thomas during his illness, about the loneliness he'd felt in Seattle, surrounded by people but never quite connecting. "I never felt like I belonged anywhere," Jamie admitted one night as they lay in bed, "until I came here, until you." Cole held him tighter. "You belong here with me, always." 3 months into their marriage, they got their first piece of good news. Cole had been awarded a significant rural development grant to improve ranch infrastructure. It wasn't enough to solve all their problems, but it was enough to breathe a little easier, to start planning for the future instead of just surviving the present. "We should celebrate," Cole said when the letter arrived, sweeping Jamie up in his arms and spinning him around the kitchen. "How do you want to celebrate?" Jamie laughed, his arms wrapped around Cole's neck. Cole's eyes darkened. "I've got some ideas. None of them involve leaving this house." They made it as far as the living room couch before clothes started coming off. Cole took him right there, both of them too eager to make it upstairs, swallowing each other's moans with deep kisses. But not everything was perfect. The community's reaction to their marriage was mixed. Pete and a few of the other local ranchers had been supportive, or at least politely neutral, but others weren't as kind. Jamie first encountered the ugliness at the feed store in town. He'd gone in to pick up supplies and had overheard 2 men talking near the back. Heard Cole Branson married some city boy, a man. The disgust in the speaker's voice was clear. "Yeah, and apparently the kid don't know a damn thing about ranching. Cole's father must be turning in his grave. It's unnatural is what it is. 2 men playing house, ain't right." Jamie had wanted to confront them, to defend himself and Cole, but he'd also learned enough about small-town dynamics to know that would only make things worse. So he'd kept his head down, paid for his supplies, and left. He didn't tell Cole about it immediately, not wanting to burden his husband with more stress, but Cole noticed his mood that evening. "What's wrong?" Cole asked as they were doing evening chores. "Nothing, just tired." Cole stopped what he was doing and turned to face Jamie fully. "Don't lie to me. We promised we'd be honest with each other. What happened?" So Jamie told him about the men in the feed store, their words, the hatred in their voices. As he spoke, Cole's expression grew darker and darker. "Who was it?" Cole's voice was dangerously quiet. "Tell me their names." "Cole, it doesn't matter." "The hell it doesn't. Nobody talks about my husband like that." "And what are you going to do? Beat them up? That'll just prove whatever they think about us." Jamie took Cole's hands. "We knew this wouldn't be easy. We knew some people wouldn't accept us. We can't control what they think or say. We can only control how we respond. Cole's jaw clenched. I hate that you have to deal with this. You shouldn't. Jamie corrected. We have to deal with this together. That's how we handle it together. And we handle it by being so successful, so undeniable, that eventually people have to respect us whether they like us or not. Cole pulled him into a fierce hug. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You were just too stubborn to notice. Despite Jamie's words, the incident at the feed store wasn't isolated. Over the next few weeks, there were other moments. Cold shoulders at church, whispered conversations that stopped when Jamie walked by. One memorable incident where someone left a nasty note on their truck windshield at the grocery store. Cole wanted to fight back against each one, but Jamie counseled patience. Let our success speak for itself, he kept saying. Let's focus on building something so strong that their hate can't touch it. Still, it wore on both of them. Some nights, Jamie caught Cole staring out the window, his expression troubled. Other nights, Jamie himself lay awake worrying about whether they were foolish to think they could make this work in a community that didn't want them there. Then came the night that changed everything. It was late October, and they'd been working on repairing the barn roof before winter set in. Jamie had gone into town alone to pick up more. Thanks for watching.